MiG-41, referenced within Russia as POC-DP, is described as the next evolutionary step in the country's strategic interceptor lineage. To understand its intended capabilities in full depth, it helps to view it not as an isolated aircraft concept, but as a solution to a series of strategic, geographical, and technological problems that have become more complex over the past several decades. Russia has long relied on long-range interceptors to secure enormous areas that cannot be covered by ground-based air defense systems or short-range fighters. The MiG-41, though fast and powerful, was conceived in the 1970s for a very different threat environment. The aims assigned to MiG-41 reflect Russia's belief that future threats will be faster, fly higher, carry longer-range precision weapons, and exploit gaps in radar coverage that cannot be filled by existing systems. Thus, the capabilities attributed to MiG-41 represent an effort to leap beyond current constraints rather than merely improve upon existing platforms. A central capability attributed to MiG-41 is extreme speed. Russian statements consistently frame the aircraft as aiming for operational speeds in the Mach-4 class, significantly beyond the performance envelope of the MiG-31. Operating in this velocity regime is not about raw performance for its own sake. Rather, it addresses several strategic challenges. Russia faces vast border regions where early detection may occur hundreds or thousands of kilometers away from assets that need protection. In the Arctic, the Pacific, and the northern approaches, hostile aircraft or cruise missile carriers can operate far from Russian airfields while still posing a threat. A Mach-4 interceptor could respond far more quickly, shrinking the time between detection and interception. This reduces the burden on ground-based missile systems, which often must react within minutes to high-speed incoming threats. Extreme speed also provides the capability to chase down high-performance reconnaissance aircraft or incoming standoff weapon launch platforms before they deploy their payloads. Such speed also creates new engagement opportunities against fast cruise missiles or high-altitude vehicles that might otherwise outrun or outmaneuver traditional fighters. Closely linked to speed is altitude capability. MiG-41 is expected to operate at altitudes far above traditional fighter ceilings. High-altitude flight dramatically increases the range at which a platform can detect targets because the radar horizon expands. An object flying at a very high altitude can detect approaching threats far farther away compared to an aircraft flying at lower levels. This extended detection range is essential when the interceptor must identify stealthy or low observable targets early enough to respond. High-altitude flight also improves weapon effectiveness. Missiles launched from such altitudes gain additional range because air resistance is lower, allowing them to retain their velocity for longer durations. In a strategic context, this allows MiG-41 to engage targets sooner, from farther away, and with better energy conditions than if it were operating at low or medium altitudes. The ability to fly near the boundary of atmospheric flight also enables engagement of certain types of high-altitude reconnaissance or surveillance systems. A conventional fighter, limited by aerodynamic, engine, and structural constraints, cannot reliably intercept these targets, but a high-altitude interceptor could. Long-range interception capability is fundamental to the aircraft's mission. Russia's air defense doctrine relies on interceptors acting as the forward, rapidly deployable element of a layered defense system. Ground-based radars and missile systems cannot cover every remote region continuously, nor can they respond quickly enough to distant or fast-moving threats. The MiG-31 partially fills this role today, but its range and sensor capabilities are increasingly challenged by more advanced threats. MiG-41 is intended to extend Russia's interception envelope much farther, allowing it to operate over the Arctic Ocean, northern shipping lanes, and remote air corridors where early interception is necessary to prevent enemy assets from launching long-range weapons. The aircraft is expected to fly long patrol missions, maintain high cruise speeds, and operate at distances where supply lines are limited. In this role, the interceptor would act not just as a defensive fighter but as a strategic air defense asset tasked with detecting and engaging threats long before they reach regions protected by other components of the air defense network. One of the most frequently discussed capability areas is the ability to engage high-speed, high-altitude, or difficult-to-detect targets. Russia expects future adversaries to use hypersonic glide vehicles, high-speed reconnaissance aircraft, long-range stealth bombers, advanced cruise missiles, and low-observable drones that challenge conventional interception methods. MiG-41 is expected to confront these threats through a combination of high aircraft speed, altitude advantage, and advanced long-range weapons. By approaching threats from above and at extreme velocity, the interceptor could reduce engagement times and position itself in front of the target's trajectory. The aircraft must be able to launch missiles capable of accelerating rapidly and maintaining stability at very high closing speeds. This means any future air-to-air weapons used by MiG-41 must be optimized not just for range, but for engagement envelopes involving extreme velocities, complex trajectories, and targets attempting to evade detection. Some statements associated with the program emphasize intercepting weapons during vulnerable flight stages, such as cruise missiles early in their route or hypersonic vehicles during transitional phases. To achieve this, the interceptor must combine flight performance with advanced sensors and data integration. Sensor capability plays an equally essential role. An extreme performance interceptor is ineffective without an equally advanced detection suite. MiG-41 is expected to rely on sensors capable of identifying small, distant, or low observable targets at long ranges, even in cluttered electromagnetic environments. The aircraft must detect an incoming threat well before committing to a high-speed, high-altitude intercept path. This requires multiband detection, data fusion, and the ability to track targets with erratic or high-speed movement. Integration with Russia's broader air defense network is crucial. Ground-based radars, early warning aircraft, and other detection systems would provide early cues, while the interceptor's onboard sensors refine the track as it closes the distance. This multi-source integration allows the aircraft to position itself optimally for engaging distant threats. Because many modern standoff weapons travel at low altitudes to avoid detection, the interceptor must use a combination of network data and its own high-altitude vantage point to locate them early enough to act. Similarly, for high-altitude or high-speed objects, the aircraft must rely on sensors capable of handling extremely rapid closing speeds and unusual flight characteristics. The intended ability to operate in manned or unmanned modes contributes to overall flexibility. An optionally unmanned configuration would permit missions involving extreme acceleration, extended duration flight, or high-risk intercept attempts. Unmanned operation could enable the aircraft to operate in environments with high levels of electronic warfare, long-range missile coverage, or uncertain survivability without exposing a pilot to danger. It could also be used for missions that require long loiter times at altitude, where human endurance becomes a limiting factor. While it is unclear how fully this capability will be implemented, its inclusion indicates an attempt to ensure the platform remains relevant in future air defense systems increasingly using unmanned technologies. Interception of advanced and emerging threats is the underlying reason for the aircraft's ambitious capability set. The next several decades are expected to see greater use of long-range precision systems, stealth bombers with deeper penetration capability, high-altitude platforms, and hypersonic missiles. Russia considers it essential to intercept these threats before they approach populated regions or high-value installations. MiG-41 is therefore intended to sit at the top of a defensive hierarchy, acting as the first responder to distant or high-performance threats. In this conceptual role, the aircraft's capabilities combine to create a response profile that reduces reaction time, expands detection and engagement corridors, and enhances the reach of the air defense network as a whole. Understanding MiG-41's intended capabilities also requires recognizing that these goals represent the upper boundary of what Russia expects to need, not a reflection of currently available performance. Achieving sustained or semi-sustained Mach-4 flight, maintaining structural integrity and avionics performance at extreme altitudes, developing long-range air-to-air weapons suited to intercepting hypersonic targets, and creating sensors capable of classifying distant low observable objects all depend on technologies that remain challenging. Russia has expressed confidence in these goals, but has not presented confirmed evidence that the program has reached these performance levels at this stage. The degree to which these capabilities will be implemented depends on future technological progress, industrial capacity, and long-term resource allocation. MiG-41 is described as a high-speed, high-altitude, long-range interceptor designed to counter advanced threats early and at great distances. Its intended capabilities center on extreme flight performance, early detection and engagement, long-range precision interception, the ability to counter hypersonic and high-altitude systems, integration with a layered defense network, and potential adaptability to unmanned operation. These capabilities are meant to address the challenges posed by emerging air and missile threats across vast areas where rapid response is essential. The concept reflects an attempt to create an interceptor that not only replaces but far surpasses the role of its predecessor, providing Russia with a strategic defensive asset capable of operating in environments where modern air and missile threats continue to evolve.